Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my last video, I gave my predictions and analysis on the NBA's Atlantic Division, and now I would like to turn my attention to the Central Division, starting with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last season, the Cavaliers finished as a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, but I felt like they were kind of under the radar despite having the success of Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. This upcoming season, I still see the Cavaliers as an under the radar team and will most likely finish as a top 4 team in the East. I still see Donovan Mitchell as an all-star. I think he's going to continue to lead the team, and the Cavaliers should continue to build around him, as well as Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, and a few other pieces, including Max Strus. So I expect more of the same from Cleveland, if not a little more in the wins department. Next, we have the Indiana Pacers. Last season was very successful for the Indiana Pacers as they not only reached the play-in tournament finals against the Los Angeles Lakers, but also managed to reach the Eastern Conference Finals where they lost to the Boston Celtics. But not only that, we continue to see the rise of Tyrese Halliburton, who is now a 2-time All-Star, made his first All-NBA selection appearance, and was a member of Team USA's gold medal winning team at the Olympics. Much like Donovan Mitchell with the Cavs, I expect more of the same with Tyrese Halliburton with the Pacers. I know he's a great leader for them, he's a first scorer, and I expect more first team All-NBA selections for him in the future. As for their playoff potentials, I definitely see Indiana being a top 4 team in the East, but as far as going back to the Eastern Conference Finals and making a deep playoff run like they did last season, it's going to be a tougher challenge, especially when you have New York, Philadelphia, Boston, and a possibly rejuvenated Milwaukee Bucks team looking to stake their claim into the NBA Finals and representing the East come next June. Next, we have the Detroit Pistons. Last season was abysmal for the Pistons, who had a 14-68 record with the lowest win percentage in the NBA. While they still have a young core, I can see Cade Cunningham developing into an all-star for the Pistons. Cunningham continues to improve in not only in his points and assists, but also with the free throws, field goals, and three-point percentages. If Cunningham continues to elevate his game, not only will he be an all-star, but I can see him being on our first All-NBA team. I also like Ron Holland, who I think is going to be a All-NBA Rookie Team 1 selection. I think he's got the defense, he's got the offense, and he's going to be a big factor for Detroit down the road. I don't see Detroit making the playoffs, maybe a play-in if by surprise, but in a few years, I think they're going to be playoff contenders. Next, we have the Chicago Bulls. What is there to say about the Chicago Bulls? I mean, they had DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Nikolai Vucevic. This team looked like they was going to contend for the next few years. They looked like Lob City East. This had potential until it didn't. With DeMar DeRozan now in Sacramento, the only upside for the Bulls is that they have a returning Lonzo Ball. And they still have Nikola Vucevic. They brought in Josh Giddey from the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, they still have some young pieces in Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White. So the only way I can see Chicago being in the postseason is through the play-in, and hopefully finding some luck during that time. But with the way things look for the Chicago Bulls, it looks more like it's going to be trade pieces left and right, starting with Zach LaVine. I can see LaVine being traded by the midseason trade deadline. That's my prediction for the Bulls. Zach LaVine most likely getting traded somewhere to possibly a contender that's primed to make the playoff run. I mean, what else there is to say for the Bulls other than they have potential, but now they have to rebuild and make something better. Finally, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. 3 years ago, the Milwaukee Bucks won their first NBA championship in over 50 years. Jump to now, they've had some setbacks despite acquiring Damian Lillard. The Bucks were hit by the injury bug all throughout last season, and while they did make the playoffs, they didn't go as far as they would like to. hopefully by this season, Giannis and company remain healthy and go on a deep playoff run. I can see Milwaukee being a top 4 team in the East and even being far competitive with the likes of Boston, Philadelphia, and New York, as well as Cleveland and Indiana. As for Giannis himself, I definitely see him being in the top 3 for MVP considerations. The Central Division looks like it's going to be a very competitive division next to the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference. I expect teams like Milwaukee, Indiana, and Cleveland to be highly competitive all throughout the season, while Detroit and Chicago make some respectable noise of their own. In terms of where they would stand if the season ended today, Milwaukee would be number 1, followed by Indiana, then Cleveland. Detroit and Chicago will be the bottom 2, with Chicago being higher than Detroit. Hey, if you made it through the video, thank you. I look forward to reading your comments and interacting with each and every one of you. I'm Deron Butler, reminding you to always run through the paint.